Welcome to the Saturday Cup of Joe podcast. This podcast is dedicated to EAS employees of the U.S. Postal Service and members of the National Association of Postal Supervisors. So, pour yourself a cup of coffee and join us for today's episode. And now, here's your host, Robert Wakefield.
Good morning, Branch 32, and good morning to all of our EAS friends across the country. Welcome to the Saturday Cup of Joe podcast, presented by the Nashville Post Office Credit Union. I am your host, Robert Wakefield, president of Branch 32. That's right. Thank you. Keep that applause coming. All right, we got a great show lined up for you. So let's go ahead and pour that first cup. Hey, parents and grandparents, let's celebrate Youth Appreciation Month with a head start toward financial freedom. All August long, when you open a savings account for your child or your grandchild at the Nashville Post Office Credit Union, we'll deposit $25 to get them started. It's never too early to teach smart money habits, and what better way than to give a gift that grows? Whether they're toddlers or teens, this is the month to invest in their future. Don't wait. August is the perfect time to make saving sweet. So stop by today and celebrate Youth Appreciation Month at the Nashville Post Office Credit Union. People helping people since 1925. And for our first cup this morning, I wanted to talk to you about a recent event that we have just been made aware of in the Tennessee District, and I'm sure it happens all across the country. So because this is a recent event, I wanted to bring in the Tennessee State Branch President 947, Donna Aaron. So let's welcome Donna Aaron to the show. Hi, Donna.
Hey, Robert.
How are you today?
Doing good.
That's awesome. That is so good. So, Donna, we've got a situation that you were made aware of earlier today. And so let's talk about the situation and talk about what NAP's response would be and stuff like that. So tell everybody what happened.
So today I got a message from a manager in East Tennessee who had received a phone call. And it's always interesting that these kinds of instructions come in a phone call. Mm-hmm. And the phone call told her that she is not to clock more than 8 hours anymore. And she asked the question, well, what do I do when my supervisor is off? And they told her, well, she could close out her office from home.
Oh my gosh. She could close out her office from home?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. My goodness.
So, in other words, and this happens so often where managers, higher up managers say, well, you're to only work 8 hours. You're only supposed to clock 8 hours. Mm-hmm. Well, what am I supposed to do if there's more to do after my 8 hours?
That's exactly right. And they want you to stay there and get all the reports done and make sure everything is clear, but they don't want to pay the supervisor for staying extra time.
Exactly. And whether it's a supervisor or whether it's a manager, mm-hmm. the ELM is very clear, like a postmaster is scheduled for 40 hours a week.
Right. Yeah.
They're not scheduled for 60 hours a week. They're scheduled for 40.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what a normal work week is.
Right. So since they always come out, these instructions seem to come out over phone calls. I've even heard them come out on Zoom meetings before. What is the right response for a NAPS member?
Well, first off, I think you should contact NAPS and let us know that this is going on, just like this young lady did today, mm-hmm. to contact us and let us know that it's going on so that we can make the district manager aware of federal regulations. For instance, the Federal Employees Act, that is 5 USC 5544-45.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever they tell you that you have to be available after your hours to work, if you're required to remain at work for more than 8 hours and you're required to do work, then you're entitled to be paid.
Absolutely.
And this Federal Employees Pay Act applies to the Postal Service.
So why do you think managers, especially upper managers, require station managers or supervisors to work off the clock? What are some of the dangers of working off the clock?
Well, for one thing, Robert, you and I have seen a situation where a manager was working off the clock and it had come an ice storm,
mm-hmm.
and she slipped and fell and got hurt.
Right.
Well, she wasn't on the clock.
Right. And that's the defense the Postal Service took.
Exactly. And that is exactly what they claimed. Well, she wasn't on the clock. And when you think, well, I'm doing this to show the post office that I'm a good employee and I'm somebody that can be promoted. Well, yeah, but you're putting yourself in a dangerous situation when you're working off the clock.
Exactly.
Because God forbid something happen and you get hurt, they're not going to pay you.
That's it. That's right. And I remember that situation because she really injured herself. She fell and hit her head on pavement.
Yes.
And it affected her personality. It affected everything. And they did not want to take care of her because she wasn't on the clock.
Exactly. And another thing with when they're asking you to take your postal phone home and be available to come back in to handle a situation, they're asking you to give up your personal time.
Oh, yeah. No doubt.
And, what if you've taken some medication that you shouldn't be driving?
You're not going back to the office, are you?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
They are imposing on your life, your personal life.
Absolutely.
And at a certain point, EAS has to stand up and say, enough is enough. You can't expect me to continue to work and not be paid. It's not right.
No, it's not. So what an EAS employee should do, especially if they're in NAPS, they should contact their NAPS representatives as soon as it happens. Is there something they can do? Because you've always had a great suggestion about you're about 6 hours into your shift, you get off in 8 hours, and you notify your boss what has to be done. Talk about that a little bit.
Yes, I've always suggested whether you're a supervisor, whether you're a manager, if they're telling you you're not supposed to clock more than 8 hours, then about 6 to 6.5 hours, call your manager up or email them and say, hey, I know you want me to clock out after 8 hours. I'm just letting you know that here's what I've got left. Here's what's left to be done in my office. And I wanted to make you aware that I will be going home in 8 hours. And then if your boss tells you, oh, no, I want you to stay until this is done, well, then I'm going to be on the clock.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And that's an excellent suggestion. Always follow up any kind of instructions like that. If you get instructions over the phone, do you suggest sending an email, making sure that you understand the instructions to that manager? Absolutely.
Always. Anytime a manager gives you instructions that you have any question about, especially if it's a phone call that they've given you instructions and you think, this might be a problem in the future for me, send them an email and say, per your instruction, I understand you want me to do XYZ. If I've misunderstood these instructions, then please respond back to me.
Now, let me ask you this question. Let's say you send that email and they don't respond. What do you do?
Then you follow their instructions.
Okay. So you stay there, or do you get to go home? If you've asked them if I'm not going to be done, do you just go home?
Exactly. If you have sent them a message and let them know what's left on your plate to be done that day, and they have instructed you to go home in 8 hours, or that you are not to be working after 8 hours, because if I'm not on the clock, I'm not working.
Right. Exactly. That's exactly right.
And you say, my instructions are not to work more than 8 hours, and here's what I got left to do. I just wanted to make you aware of it. If they don't respond back to you and tell you to stay, go home.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Donna, for joining the Saturday Cup of Joe podcast with this important information. And we hope that if you get this type of phone call, that you will let NAPS know and you will act accordingly.
Absolutely. Thank you for getting this message out.
All right. Thank you, Donna, and we'll talk to you real soon. Hey, Nashville Postal employees, the summer sizzle's almost over, but your sweet tooth still has time to shine. It's the final days of free ice cream at the Nashville Post Office Credit Union, and we're scooping up smiles all August long. Did you hear that, Brian Wagner? You've got the month of August. You better hurry. Whether you're a longtime member or a new member of the credit union, swing by for a cool treat and learn what makes the Nashville Post Office Credit Union your hometown financial hero, from low rates to hometown service. But hurry, August melts away fast, and so does the ice cream. Join us before the last scoop drops. The Nashville Post Office Credit Union, people helping people since 1925. And for the second cup, let me just say that we really do appreciate Donna Aaron, the Tennessee State President, getting on the podcast today to talk about that very thing about working off the clock. And again, I cannot stress to you enough that working off the clock is not an option. So be sure that you notify a NAPS representative if that happens so that we can address it. Also, I just want to mention that NAPS Branch 32, your next meeting, your monthly meeting for August, will be taking place on August the 26th. The time is 6 p.m., and we will be meeting at the Nashville Post Office Credit Union. So be sure to be there for the meeting. It's going to be great to see everybody. We did not have a meeting in July, and so we have one coming up in August, and we hope that all of the members of Branch 32 can be there for that. So make your plans now. It's going to be our non-member meeting. We're inviting non-members to come to a meeting, see what NAPS is all about, and we hope that you will bring someone that you know that is not a member. That's going to do it for today's show of the Saturday Cup of Joe podcast presented by the Nashville Post Office Credit Union. Now, you can go to our website. We have a website, and it's SaturdayCupOfJoe.podbean, PODBEAN.com. There you can comment on this show. You can leave me a message, and I'm the only one that sees it. And, well, I think I'm the only one that sees it. If it's a comment, I think anybody can see it. So don't cuss. But be sure to leave me a message. Tell me what branch you're listening from and where you're from. We would love to hear from you. So that's going to do it. Thank you so much. And remember, every great weekend starts with a great cup of Joe. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to the Saturday Cup of Joe podcast. Please note that the views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of Robert Wakefield and do not necessarily reflect the views of the National Association of Postal Supervisors. We welcome your questions and comments, so send those to SaturdayCupofJoe gmail.com.